In the quiet village of Ngarama, where the earth smelled of fresh soil after rain and the wind whispered tales of ancient times, lived a girl named Pola. Her mother, Mirembe, had raised her with love and wisdom, teaching her the simple joys of life: how to weave baskets, tend to the garden, and hum songs that echoed the beauty of their homeland. But when Mirembe passed away after a long illness, Pola found herself alone, with only memories and the promise her mother had made. Before she died, Mirembe had shared a secret with Pola, a secret about her biological father. Pola's mother had never spoken much about him, but on her deathbed, she handed Pola a small leather pouch containing an old photograph and a crumpled letter. In the photograph was a man she did not recognize, with dark eyes and a strong, kind face. The letter, written in a shaky hand, spoke of a love that was lost but never forgotten. "I hope one day you'll find him," the letter had said. "He was always meant to be part of your life, but circumstances kept us apart. Go to the city. Look for him there. He's waiting for you." The letter had given her a name, a place in the bustling city of Mwandani, a name Pola had never heard before. The city was far from the peace of her village, full of noise and strangers, but it was the only place where she might find the answers to questions that had lingered in her heart for as long as she could remember. With no family left, and a determination that grew stronger with each passing day, Pola decided to leave her village. Her heart ached at the thought of leaving the land she knew so well, but she knew it was time to find the man in the photograph. With only a few belongings in a cloth bag, Pola set out, her feet light but her heart heavy. The journey. The journey to Mwandani was long, and Pola had never seen so many people in one place. The city was overwhelming. The sounds of carriages, the chatter of strangers, and the thick smell of spices and city streets. She had no idea where to begin her search, but the photograph in her pocket gave her hope. She had to find him. The first few days were spent wandering through the maze of narrow alleys, speaking to anyone who might have heard of a man who resembled the one in the photograph. She visited the marketplaces, the city squares, and the small cafes where stories were exchanged over cups of strong coffee. But no one knew him. Feeling lost, Pola's heart began to sink. She had come so far, and yet she was no closer to finding the father she had never known. Just as she was beginning to lose hope, she came across a small bookshop nestled in a quiet corner of the city. It was the kind of shop that seemed out of place in the busy streets, with its old wooden shelves and the smell of aged paper and ink. Pola, tired and with little energy left, wandered inside. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman with silver hair, looked at her with knowing eyes. "Looking for something, my dear?" she asked softly. Pola hesitated, but then showed the woman the photograph. "I'm searching for this man. Do you know him?" The shopkeeper took a long look at the picture, her gaze deep and steady. "You're looking for him, aren't you?" she said, her voice almost a whisper. "He was a regular here many years ago. You'll find him at the old mill on the outskirts of the city. He works there now." Pola's heart skipped a beat. Could this really be the man? Was it the father she had been searching for all this time? "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling with hope. With newfound determination, Pola made her way to the old mill. It was situated at the edge of the city, far from the noise and bustle. The mill itself was weathered and ancient, its stone walls covered in ivy. When Pola arrived, she saw a man working at the water wheel, his back to her. He looked strong, older than in the photograph, but still striking. She approached him slowly, her breath caught in her throat. The man turned, and for a moment their eyes met. His dark eyes, the same as the man in the photograph. "Can I help you?" he asked in a deep, warm voice. Pola swallowed hard, her heart pounding. Are you my father?" The man's face softened, his eyes widening with recognition. He stepped closer, his hands trembling slightly as he reached out to take the photograph from her. He stared at it for a long moment, his gaze distant, as if the years had caught up with him all at once. "I never thought I would see you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Pola, my daughter." Tears welled in Pola's eyes as she took a step closer. "I found you, Papa." For the first time in her life, Pola felt complete. The man she had searched for was not just a stranger in a photograph, but the father who had been waiting for her all these years. They stood there, silent, as the wind rustled the trees around them. father and daughter, finally united. And though their journey together was only just beginning, Pola knew that no matter what came next, she was no longer alone.